about 2004. Past president of Gateway Woodturners, active in both Gateway and Abington and the segmenting group. Thing I hear the most out of guys is they start with a bowl. They never learn how to use a skew. So it either ends up stuck in the rack, uses a pay can opener or stirrer, uses a doorstop. I mean, I've heard all kinds, one guy said the only place for a skew is to walk in his gun cabinet. Okay. Skew is a good tool. It's a good one to learn, a good one to play with. The various types, various styles. I've got a couple of different ones here, that a couple of them I'll pass around. Basically, it's a double bevel. I like my bevels to be about 1.5 to 2 times the thickness of my, of the actual steel. I prefer a skew that has a rounded bottom, and actually anything that's got a square bottom, take the time to put it on a belt sander or a grinder and round the damn thing off on the bottom. Because if not, you will catch every time you run along your tool rest. Guaranteed. You will not, you'll get a, nice rounded bottom, looks good. The tops are like square, nice and square. I'll show that when I'm doing some of the cuts. The different types of skews. Standard skew is, square, rectangular piece of steel that starts out with. You have oval skews, like this one, which I like for small work, pens, some finials, and whatnot. When you're holding a full-size skew, or for a long period of time, if you're doing a lot of finials or a lot of work like that, your arm gets a little tired. When I'm doing icicles for ornaments, I usually do about 50 a year. Most of my work on those is done with the skew. So I usually switch to this one and go real quick. Round skew, well, except for one thing that Warren Carpenter showed me, is a useless piece of junk as far as I'm concerned. Okay? I considered, until I talked to Warren Carpenter about it and saw him use it, I was considering turning it into a 3-point tool just to play with. Okay? Basically what Warren does with it is when he's cutting the inside lip on his boxes or a piece that needs a square recess, he'll set it so that that point is going in dead center and he can just, dead on center line, and he can just go straight in, and there's no bevel, or he doesn't have to adjust and go in. He can actually use this edge of it as a follower as he's going in and get a nice straight cut. Because there's nothing, everything rolls around it, everything's bigger than it raises. So that's where, you guys want to pass these two around. They are sharp. Anybody comes up with blood, it's on their own head, not mine. Sharpening a skew. Skew is the only tool that I take beyond the grinder.
Beyond the what?
Beyond the grinder. Okay? Normally it's a tool I grind it to, and go right back to the lathe with. Skew is the only one that's different. Most of you don't have this setup, which I'll get to in a second, but most of you do have either a card or some sort that's a diamond. Okay? I have 3 different bricks. My skews usually only see a grinder about once every 6 months. Okay? The way I keep them sharp is when I'm doing demos or when in the field is, and even what I started with in my shop was to just have a 3 set of diamond stone, coarse, medium, and fine. Mostly, if they come off the grinder, they go through all 3 steps. 9 times out of 10, all you need is the fine one. And what I do is I hold it as an extension of my arm, lay it on so toe, tip and tail are touching, and make a few passes. Flip it over and do the same thing. It will give you that edge, that razor extra extra edge that you need with the skew. Okay? No, I don't believe in scary sharp and going all the way, because the second you hit wood, it starts to go away. I do believe in sharpening more than most of us, or most people do. Skew does need to be sharp.
Are you doing these with that same stone?
I have done. Those have not been done with a stone recently.
I feel like
Huh? But I'll show you now. I'm going to show you in my shop. I use belt handle. Now, if anybody of you know or knew John Siegel out of New Hampshire, John came up with this idea, and for a while he was selling it. And basically, it's a $50 belt sand, 4-inch belt, 4-inch belt sander from Harbor Freight, reversed, so it's actually spinning up on a jig setup. John does all of his tools, or did all of his tools with this particular style of jig. Usually a very worn 150 or a 220 grit belt is what we have on here, or what I have on here. The block setup that I have just allows me to move to different angles so that my bevel always lays right up. So it's a 2-second process. And I'm back on the way. As fast as going to the grinder, faster when you're dealing with skews. I don't use it for my other tools, but I do use it for the for using the skew. Okay. It's not that hard to play with. The only difference between that as it comes out of the factory and the way we did it is you take the belt off, go down the hardware store, buy one that's 1 inch longer, and turn it into a figure 8, give it a half twist, and put it back on. And the hooks, reverse it. That's the only modification I made to it. And the fact that I put a buffing wheel on the side of it that I use black rouge on. I really don't use that much. Because like I said, 9 times out of 10, I'm going right back to the lathe. And the second you hit the wood, that burr or whatever is gone. Just like with your gouges, just like with any other tool that we use.
So by simply turning the fan belt into a figure 8.
Yeah.
Reverses the direction.
Makes it reverse it.
Direction of the-
Yeah. Yeah. And the only reason I went for a 1 inch longer belt is the fact that there isn't enough play in this motor to move it forward and back enough. That's all you did. For the first 2 weeks, yeah, you got some black dust from the belt as it wore itself into a shape. After that, it's never, that belt's been on there for 5 years now. That's how long I've used that. And I love the system, okay? Just like any grinding wheel, it does need to be cleaned once in a while. Just the standard belt cleaner works great. Just, knocks off the, whatever's on there. Any questions on sharpening or anything else? I'm going to make this real quick tonight, guys, by the way. Unless somebody has something that I'm missing or somebody wants me to show something specific. Any questions so far? Okay, let's move over to the lathe. The 2 skews that I'm using tonight are going to be my 2 Thompson skews, my 1 1/4 and my 1/2 inch. Sometimes I'll go to a show, like the next 3 days, because I'm doing the Gateway Club is doing the Rochester Country Fair. And even though I'm taking the grinder with me for the gouges and stuff, I won't be taking that with me, so I'll probably have all these skews in my box so that I can just keep switching out and then just take them home at night and sharpen them and back and forth. Okay, using a skew. Normally I would start on a truck for this demo, but obviously we can't find one here tonight, so we're going to mix things up a little bit. I won't be turning a fitting over. I will show you how to basically turn a little thinner than stock size down with it. What if you, the skew is the one tool where I start or have the tool rest set above center, okay? Most times when we're turning, you want your tool rest at or just below center, so that the tip of your tool comes in at the center line. With a skew, if you do that, because you're riding higher on the piece, you will find that you are down here like this usually. Very uncomfortable, very hard to control. If you raise the tool rest up, the tool is now coming in at this, closer to this angle. I hope you guys can see this, what is being shown here. So when you're riding along the bevel, you're actually making it an extension of your arm. Okay? That's why I usually like long handles on a lot of my tools, because I can just make them an extension. You know, underneath. You know, just ride, gives me better control. As I said, I did not bring any other tools with me except the skew. And the best way to learn a skew is to practice with it, plain and simple. If you've got an hour in your shop, spend the first 5 or 10 minutes with a skew in your hand. Don't have to use fancy wood. This is a piece of 2x4 that was sitting on the floor of the shop. I just cut it into 1.5 inch length. It's how I learned how to use a skew. You know,
You go right into a square piece of wood like that with the skew? You don't round it off first?
yeah. You want a hands-on instruction, and if you bring any other tool into my shop, I'll slap you with it.
You know what I'm asking you. You don't use a gouge and round it first.
Here we go, Paul.
Okay. Yeah. I've been afraid. I'm afraid to try it.
That's actually how I did the outside of my bowl.
Is it really? I'm afraid to do that.
I'm just going very slowly.
Okay, for anybody
Yes,
who's
wow.
watching, or not watching,
Wow.
I'm trying to mark this up, and I don't know whether the camera's gonna pick it up. or
I'm not the only one that asking that.
Where I am impacting, a skew has a sweet spot, and it runs from approximately, and I'm using the wide one because it gives me more area to show you, from approximately the middle of the skew, maybe a hair above it, to about 1/8 of an inch to a 1/16 foot below the heel. That area is your sweet spot, okay? Anybody who wants to, I haven't quite got this round yet, but if you want to feel it, you'll see that this piece is smooth, coming right off the blade, except for the slight bumps where I haven't hit the corners yet. We're going to make it round, and then we'll go from there with it. Give me a second. How many of you avoid turning fine because of terror? Go ahead, Bill.
I believe I've seen it, but
Could you talk about the angles you're using? Angle of attack and angle of tilt.
The angle,
There's a height that I couldn't go right.
like I said, it becomes an extension of my arm, okay? Basically, if I'm riding on the wood, okay, I can just sit there and ride all day long. All I'm doing is bringing it up so it touches the wood, until it starts to see that dust come off. If I need to make a chip come off to get go deeper, just raise your arm up just slightly, okay? Nothing I want to do. At this point, the piece is now smaller in diameter. I will lower the tool rest a little, but I am still above center.
But you're holding the angles at about 45 degrees.
About 45 degrees to the wood for a nice, simple, planing cut,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Now, move down here a little bit, okay. The next thing I want to show you is using either cutting beads, bevels, or whatever. One of the simplest things that I like to cut is, if you're learning how to use it, chuck in a chuck, okay, just having a 9-inch piece, sticking out there, 2 eggs, okay? And if it happens to be close to Easter, grab a set of Sharpies of multicolors, put some lines on them, throw them at your kids, throw them at your grandkids, and they'll have a ball with them. My wife used to have 4 dozen of these sitting in a basket, and she'd hide them all over the house and tell the kids to go find them. This stupid little wooden fine egg. Then I got fancy and started making them out of hardwood scrap and stuff like that, and segmented even, and, those I never know where she was going to send them. Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm switching to using the toe of my skew, or the long point, the flat side down, and what I'm going to start with is cutting in a simple V-cut. I'm going to start by making a mark and then coming in. All I'm doing here is using the bevel to bring the cut and take it off. I'm just shaving it away. Each pass. Now, if I want to make that into a bevel to create the back side of my L, I'm switching back the other way. And when as I'm bringing my skewer over, I'm still at my 45, but I'm just raising it so it's rolling up and in. I've already got my bead cut. The biggest problem the way you hear all the swearing, cussing, cursing, is when you get up to this point, you get too high, and it starts to kick back on you. As long as you've got a slight angle, you can make that curve. And you go one more time. Right, I've got some material here in my way, which got to my point. If you're doing a spindle and you want to cut a clean clean shoulder to a bead or whatever, same procedure is done as I've just done here. I'm going to put it in here. You see how rough I left that? I chewed it all up. I don't care. That's all coming out of there. To make the cut, again, down low on the tool, bring it up so it's just above center, raise your hand, start your cut. When you start to hear or feel that it's giving you resistance, whatever your waist side is, move over and move it away. Come back and do your final cut. Maybe the board is a little big for that, this cut here, but look into a half inch. Cutting number B. Take your area to your bead. Clear your waste material on either side of it. And you can, as I just did, you can use the stick or the toe to make that cut, or you can use the heel, using the heel guide. Try them both ways. Everybody has a dominant hand, whether you're left-handed, right-handed, I don't care. With a skew, you will have to learn to go back and forth between the two hands. If anybody can notice, you probably couldn't do it. Whatever your weakest side is, when you're cutting a bead, that is the side you should cut first. Why? Simple. It's easier with your dominant hand to match what you've got on the other side than it is with your weak hand to try and match the dominant side. I'm going to have to forego doing the finial tonight, because I don't have a truck, but I can show you some of the elements of a finial. If you want to cut a dead square shoulder, line your bevel up so it's dead square or dead parallel with the shoulder. You slowly raise the middle and make a cut. There are some people who say that you should always start with the largest skew long when learning how to use it. I don't advocate that, for the simple fact that it's not always the best. If you get better control with a half-inch skew than you do with a 1-inch, start with a 1-inch. You start with a half-inch. The others will come along once you start to learn how to use them. I would have parted off the edge, I would have turned the top next. Don't have too much fun. You can pass those around or whatever. This one will come off next and, you know, be passed around and we just clean it up a little bit. One more. Yeah. Okay, good. Any questions so far?
Yeah. Do you find it, when you're learning easier with a larger skew to maintain the, center to heel or the center to toe than it is with some of the smaller ones because it's so easy to catch?
To a point, yes, but that loses some of it if you are finding the skew heavy. I mean, you can come up back there afterwards and, pick up that inch before the skew of mine. She's a heavy tool. I mean, I use it for, you saw I used it for roughing out and whatnot. Yeah, I do use it for a lot of roughing and, purposes and whatnot. If I was doing it as a production turner, speaking of which, anybody who's into YouTube or Facebook, a guy out of England by the name of Steve Jones. Goes under his Facebook page is called the Woodworker, I believe it is, or Woodturner. Woodturner. Best skew turner that I've ever seen. Okay, he posts a lot. He's got a lot of videos. They're not designed as. Every one of them has a disclaimer. This is not a demonstration. He is a professional, but just watching his videos, you will pick up a lot of techniques that he does, and he's, one of the best I've ever seen. Okay, I'd love to actually see him in person someday and talk to him.
Do you also round over your edges on your skews?
Bottom edge.
Just the bottom?
Bottom edge. Top I like this square. Okay, you want to pass around those two. Both of these have a slight round edge on them. This one here, one here, which I will is totally round on the bottom. This
How do you
is Doug
define
Thompson, by the way.
bottom and top? If you turn it upside down, doesn't that become the bottom now?
Okay, when I say top and bottom, I mean toe, top,
Okay.
heel, bottom,
Okay.
rounded bottom, flat top.
But if you turn the whole tool upside down and
Right,
you're
but
using it that way,
Okay.
there's
it
no
does-
purpose to having it around.
What I am actually, what I'm saying is that, the normal orientation of the tool
Okay,
it would be that way, whether
Okay.
it approaches the wood. When you're doing certain cuts, like cutting the pommel cuts and the, and whatnot,
right,
then you would use it, with the top down, but,
yeah, okay.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
I've seen some of the guys on YouTube, they put a small radius on the heel. Does that help or not? They've got ever so slight radius on the heel.
Yeah, if you were, okay, for me, no,
But for a beginner,
no,
no.
no, okay? Name's forgetting me, the other, Alan Lancer. Huh? No, Alan Lancer is the one I was thinking of. I'm not sure how, Raffles skews are, but I know, Alan Lancer, all of his skews, the back third of them is radius. One, especially either on a diamond stone or on a grinder, I find it hard to maintain a constant bevel. Two, I don't see any need for it, okay? Like I said, even if you don't have a source, I work construction, I can pick up pieces of 2x4 all the time. You can go dumpster diving in your, somebody's, with a job site yard and find 2-foot pieces of 2x4. Whip them into 1.5" stock for practice. Worst comes to worst, go to Home Depot and buy $1.50 2x4. You'll get, a month's worth of practice wood out of it. It's simple, cheap, easy, and if you can get a decent cut on pine, you can get a decent cut on anything.
Anything.
All right, I got one more. Like I said, I'm skipping a couple of steps because I don't have the truck. One turning a full finial. I turn finials, hair sticks, long tapers. I have one customer of mine who, she does rope work. About 3 times a year she has me make up about 4 dozen fits, different sizes. I do it all with a skew, just whip them right out for her, and, basically the only thing I want to touch those with is a piece of 220 sandpaper, and then I hit them with a coat of lacquer while it's right on the lathe, and I'm done. Powder wash them, I'm done. It's just a straight taper. I cut them mostly out of maple and some yellow heart, whatever I've got available. He doesn't care what wood is, as long as it takes me to a size requirement.
All right.
And the only reason I asked that question is I've seen it done, I haven't done, my skills are regular.
Yeah,
That's the only thing.
I don't advocate it. I think there's one skew in my shop that still has a true radius on it. I don't use it very often. I usually keep it around just so if a student was there taking a lesson on how to use a skew, I would use that one to, and they ask the question about radius. I'd say, here, try it. See if you can tell the difference, because I can't. Like I said, stay off the bottom edge. You're not, you're going to get a cat. That's when you start cutting threads. And if you ever get a turner who says he's never cut a thread with a skew, he's a liar. I don't care who he is, he's a liar. We've all done it, we all do it. And this maple's a little harder than I thought. And do we have a knockout part for this lady? Only one for one place? No, don't get that. We don't have a lot of things for this lady. It usually goes over here, I'm missing it. So
I know there isn't.
You put them in the truck. Okay.
We had a chuck.
Can't find it.
That's a history.
That's all right, never mind.
But I know we had a, we had a Nova.
I have to buy them.
If I give a lesson to a student on just a skew, in my shop, his take-home project is I do that, which is basically a captured ring with square ends. Only tool you're allowed to use is skew. That's the last one I'm going to show you tonight. square, or whatever shape they happen to be. It's more funky on the second step is treat it as if you're cutting a bead. Mark your bead, clear away your waste on each side. You'll notice that I'm actually, there are times when I'll just bring the blade straight up. All I'm doing is using it as you would a parting tool. It just gives you a slight bevel. Coming up the cut. Put that in. Round over your top like you would any other bead. And then, with that undercutting, you're writing your bevel here, so you're actually cutting the undercut and knowing about the actual ring itself. Anything that's in this area here is nothing more than waste. If it gets chewed up, you don't care. If you're gonna turn around and clean it up afterwards anyway. When you get close to halfway, minding your way? Nope. Okay. Start the other side. You notice I'm raising the handle, and I'm also raising the angle of the skew, so it's not flat, it's not 90, it's somewhere in between. I'm using it like you would doing a shear cut with a scraper, is what I'm doing with it at this point. Not to get the wood caught underneath it, you will end up with a cut. I'm only switching to another skew because that one's getting dull on me. not bad. Any questions?
You use the toe to cut in, not the heel.
Right.
Undercutting on the toe.
Really, it has no practical purpose. It takes 3 times longer than doing it with either a detail gouge or a specially designed cutting tool.
Yeah.
The only thing it teaches you, and the reason I tell students to try it, is real simple. It'll teach you control of the skew. You're gonna get catches, okay? But most people say, I don't wanna ruin good wood. I didn't use good wood tonight. Not a damn piece of it was anything more than firewood. And actually, pine isn't even good firewood. So, you know, no matter how you wanna look at it, we've all got stuff around. You know, you trim a branch off your tree that's 2 inches in diameter. You normally wouldn't turn that on your lathe, but it'll make great for, practice with a skew. And like I said, if you've got an hour to spend in your shop, spend the first 5 or 10 minutes with nothing but your skew. Then go on to whatever you want. Some nights you're gonna get frustrated, other nights you're gonna say, wow, this is getting easier. It's so well, it does have a steep learning curve, but it's worth the time to take, to learn it, to use it.
The skew gives you a very fine finish.
Well, the first piece I passed around, you saw tonight, I mean, even on pine,
That was smooth.
I did not a single,
Yeah,
this one I just did out of maple, I mean,
yeah, no, like smooth as glass.
yeah, and I mean, how many people can say that on pine? You can do,
Sandpaper the ring.
huh? Okay, if I was gonna do that, if I was actually gonna cut those, and actually, for a finished product, not the way this is, what I would do is, one, I'd sandpaper the top, I touch the top before I start the undercut. Once I've undercut and I've cleared away that bottom section underneath it, so I have like on a goblet, if I'm doing a captive ring on a goblet or something like that, what I do is I take a piece of 220 sandpaper, wrap it around the stem, and just tape it in place, and then just use that and just hold the ring and just move it back and forth a few times. It's fairly simple. Any other questions?
Can you just go over one more time what you did with your sander, your belt sander?
Yeah, we were talking here, well, we shouldn't have been, but.
Well, shame on you, Paul.
Chair.
What do you mean?
Basically, it's a $50, $56, it's usually on sale for like 50 or 60 bucks, and then you take your 20% coupon in that day, you can get it for about 50 bucks. It's just their standard 4-inch belt sander, comes with a 6-inch side plate, for a disc sander on the side. That's, I just never even got out of the box actually. But the only modification I made to it was, I took the belt off, and you can actually come up and look at it. You can see the figure 8 on this side because it's open. Here, I took the belt off, went down my hardware store, bought another one that was 1 inch longer because I needed the extra length, and put a twist in it. So it's now a figure 8. So, right?
Oh, that's the belt.
That's the belt.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the belt is now just going
Opposite direction.
opposite direction. All it does is reverse mode, because you can't reverse those motors. They're cheap Chinese motors, you cannot reverse them. If I was buying it as a belt sander, right, that's it. And the plate underneath, if I was gonna do the plate over again, for anybody who's, thinking about doing this, I would probably put a piece of T-track on there and make it fully adjustable instead of my series of 1/2-inch holes. Because even with the 1/2-inch holes and the 2 sets of pins that I have on my V-block, I have, basically I can set this in 1/4-inch increments all the way down that board. But I think, if I did it again, I'd just put a piece of T-track down the middle here, and just made a carriage that slid over it with a V-block on it. You know, that's the only difference I'd do if I was gonna do it over again, but this works so well for me so far.
Oh, and you have holes so you can move the
Yeah.
bevel.
Yeah, I can move, you know, I mean,
For different length tools.
I can technically, okay, every one of my SKUs except for these that I have here, except for these two short ones, have been adjusted over time so that their bevel and everything goes right there. You know, I never, you know, it's just faster and easier. The two short ones that are here, no, actually that one I can even, that one I have to move it out slightly. This one is actually too short, but I have another block, it's a taller V block, that's just for that one. And just so it hits on the plate. I did make up a plate, that's why this block is on the side, so that I could do scrapers and I could do, and I even have another jig similar to one that John Siegel makes for doing bowl gouges, and yeah, I don't use it. It's faster to use a grinder. You know, I mean, this is the, you know, I know, you know, I mean, it's an investment in another tool if you want to go this route. The diamond stones work, but like I said, if I'm doing 30, 40 pieces for somebody, I want to be able to turn around and slam back on the lathe. I don't even turn the lathe off half the time. It's just, you know, if the tool's getting dull, I can just flip the switch on this. No, I can't. Flip the switch, sharpen it, and back on, 20 seconds. You know, I'm just keeping an edge on it. That's all I'm doing.
What's the difference that versus a grinding wheel with the one-way setup?
Okay, one way, if you're talking a one-way skew setup with a double-off bevel, yeah, anybody who owns it, you wasted your money,
Why?
myself included.
No, I mean the one way that you use on a regular grinder, that you preset.
Okay,
Your
no,
bowl gouges, et
okay,
cetera.
no, for the bowl gouge, like I said, I do that on the, but not with a skew. A skew, the best way to do a skew on a grinder is basically freehand to get your bevel, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
I set my angle plate. I set my plate so I'm coming up to my wheel, so that my bevel's righty. I hold it so it's going to go straight across my grinder. I need three hands here, I don't have them. Just hold my other, my hand is at the back, keep it flat, and just go back and forth. All I'm doing when I take these to a grinder is creating a slight bevel into it, okay? And, if the shape for some reason gets out of whack, or if, as when I did the last demo, as the guy was handing this one I think it was, back to me, they dropped it, like, yeah, okay, that one needs a grinder. I mean, it was funny as hell, because I just said don't drop them, but it was, but no, that's, the only time, about once every 6 months just to bring, the angle back or something like that, I might put them on the grinder, but for the most part, I can do it right on here. 150 is about the finest grit you're going to find locally. 220, Klingspor, or any of the online sandpaper places, you can order the 220 belts. Okay. Again, I'm throwing names out left, right, and center here tonight. John Siegel used to go as high as 400 with his. I personally don't find, I'm not looking for scary sharp. Okay. As long as you sharpen often enough, you don't need scary sharp. All you're doing is trying to, extend your life of your time on the lathe. I mean, if you can just do, if you can sharpen in 20 seconds, either with your, whether you're using a gouge or whatever, you jumping back and forth. That's the whole point of using jigs with a gouge. Is you get into a routine, you can do them fast. Same with these. Any other questions? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.